Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Ramblings from the Warp from Late Night Dice. As always, joined by Christian and Kyle.
Hi, everybody.
How y'all doing?
So, we're getting down to it. At the time this drops, we're going to be 6 days away from 3.0. Couple of cool things. Since our last episode, I'm not going to say, I told you so. I'm not going to do that.
I
will.
am.
We told you.
So. Not planned at all. It's just how we feel.
I want to preface this episode by saying that this is going to be a true ramblings. We don't know what we're going to talk about. We're just here.
So, they announced the PDF document. And basically, the PDF document listed a lot of the stuff that a lot of players were really concerned about. And then they even clarified and said, hey, all the rules that are out there, like Gabe said, are just the lines of models from Games Workshop unedited. So the PDF did make some announcements that are going to really help with army composition. And there were a couple new things in there that I'd never seen before that are brand new, like veteran heavy weapon teams and veteran breacher squads. That's exciting. Not going to lie.
For dumbasses like me, what does that mean?
So, commonly, the only thing that separates a regular squad from a veteran squad is a little bit of a leadership boost and a wound benefit. So it'll get a second wound. Now, what that means in 3.0, I have no idea because I haven't read the document and I'm not going to speculate. But that's what it's meant in 2.0. Another really cool thing that's happening is we're seeing kind of this morph away from certain models. So when we were doing the Legion breakdowns, you guys heard me basically rant to the heavens about why certain people are in the game. Some of those people aren't coming back. Now, I don't know if that's because... Now, we don't know if it's because those models are going to be reintroduced as a new kitted model, or if Games Workshop is going to kill them entirely and give them the Absher Vec treatment, right? We don't know if that's what's going to happen. I can say that the article specifically said, hey, some people did not get rules, did not have models, are not coming back. They actually said, like, what's dead is dead. So I'm looking at the list and the composition of the PDF book. That's true. There are some people that died, and when we get our hands on the books and we start peeling through it, the PDFs and everything else, we have every intention of going through and combing through some of this information, legion by legion, and showing you guys what changed. So for the veteran players, what I'd like to do is kind of go through and explain what changed, what stayed the same, and where we're going in 3.0. I don't know how in depth that'll go. I don't know, I don't know how deep the roots are on that tree. But that's what I'd like to cover. I don't know about you guys.
I mean, we could. I wouldn't mind putting a vote to it and asking how deep people would want us to go on it, or how, because in all honesty, every conversation we have, every ramblings video we have, we could make it as long as we want. We could make it as short as we want. We could talk for hours, even about stuff that probably doesn't have to do with the game. We like to talk, people. We really do.
I think that's one of the. I think that was one of the biggest problems when we were like, yeah, we're gonna make a podcast. We're just gonna ramble. Like, oh yeah, cool. Then I remember the structure of some of our conversations where it's like, yeah, man, you got to understand it. Dreadnought does this and this and this and this and this. And one of us walks up and is like, hey, you guys ever read a train before? I'm thinking about riding on a train. How is that? Is that good or bad? And then somehow we end up on like, I rode a horse once. Like, what does that have to do with trains? So, absolutely. Maybe we'll put that in the Discord. We'll get a vote on how we want to do the Legion breakdowns. Whatever. But some more cool announcements that came out. There's one rumor that feels more real by the day. We might be getting new cataphractes.
Saw the pictures on Reddit.
Mm-hmm. We might be getting some new cataphracti terminators. Confirmed. we are getting plastic Mark II Assault Marines, which are amazing.
And Captain Planet weeped.
We're getting the Mark II Assault Marines, and we're also getting, kind of like some advanced previews of some other stuff that's going to be coming out. I think one of the things I'm most excited about is that we're going to be seeing more and more of the kit bashing coming back to life with a PDF document. So I'm really excited to see what people are going to do with these Mark II Marines, both that are in the Saturnine box and that are coming out with the Assault Marines. I'm really curious.
Yeah, and
what kind of kit bashes we're going to see
with these Mark IIs coming out. It's just showing that, hey, GW is going to release a bunch of plastic models, probably in these Mark IIs, so that even veterans and new people alike are just going to, they want to make money. So, everyone's going to go buy these new ones. Even if you still have a crap load of them sitting on the shelves, you're probably still going to go buy some new ones. So that's a good sign. I know we're going to get a lot more range of models from them. They're going to want to make money. The hobby aspect of it is looking good, and we're going to be able to kit bash a bunch of shit.
With my whole chest, I'm going to say this. I think I speak for like 92% of the Horus Heresy community. We're just excited that beaky helmets aren't being shoved down our fucking throat anymore.
Man.
I don't even think for veteran players, when I got into the game, I was like, what are these beaky motherfuckers, dude? I don't like these.
Like, bro, at some point, somebody was like, I know how to improve the armor. How's that? We'll make them look like fucking plague doctors. Yeah, like not my forte. Now, here's what I will say. There are some thematic and narrative reasons. Like Raven Guard, if I built a Raven Guard army tomorrow, it would be straight Mark 6 across the board.
Oh, yeah.
Right. If I were building, like a Siege of Terraforce on the Loyalist side, I would probably play with Mark 6s because that's thematic. I have a lot of older 40k models that are in Mark 6 that I plan to use in my Ultramarines for Heresy because they're the right armor and they're the right stuff. I don't like Mark 6 armor for my Ultramarines. I use it for models that look really cool, like my 40k models and stuff like that. And pretty much every Horus Heresy player I've encountered, every army I've seen, nobody uses the beaky helmets. Everyone's got printed helmets or a modified helmet, or they're like biting the bullet and they're using bare heads with no helmets. Like, that's how you know it's something that nobody likes. They're like, I would rather have to paint skin tone than fuck with a beaky helmet.
Bro, you have like probably about 5 people out there crying right now because they like the beaky helmets. I'm not saying they look bad. I just didn't use them. But honestly, as a new player, when I came in, I thought they were honestly for, like you said, Raven Guard or like Death Guard. I didn't know any better. I was just like, is that a fucking plague doctor? Like, what is that? But no, I agree. Just more range of stuff. You never know. There's
I'm saying they look bad and they should feel bad.
Well, so there's a conundrum, right? Here's the conundrum. We've said this once, we'll say it 1,000 times. Heresy is more narrative than it is anything else. I don't know of any named characters from early in the Heresy that ever transitioned into Mark 6 armor. So when you
saw that beaky helmet and said, fuck all that, I'll keep my old shit, thank you. Give me some WD-40, I'll get rid of this creaky elbow.
Yeah, like I'm pretty sure somebody was like, what am I, a fucking hummingbird? I'm not wearing that. So I'm not knocking the Mark 6 armor in the sense of like, if you like it, like, cool, you like what you like. What I'm saying is there isn't a single named hero that I can name off the top of my head that was rocking Mark 6 armor because it didn't come about until later in the Heresy. So from a kit bashing standpoint, right, from like the people who are, I mean, I guess you can call them purists, the guys that really wanted their stuff accurate, both lore, thematics, design, and look. It was really hard to kit bash Mark 6 Marines into that named character that you wanted or that guy from the book because they wouldn't have worn Mark 6. They would have worn Mark 2 or Mark 3. or Mark IV. You know, I remember when I first got into Horse Heresy, they didn't have a model for Remus Ventanus. You know, my only named character that has a model now. And so you would have to kit bash him. And people were like, oh, what kind of armor did he wear? They're like, oh, he wore Maximus armor. That's Mark V armor. And all the Mark V armor is weird. It's all studded and kind of thrown together. It's whatever. Then you find out, like, no, he actually wore Mark IV armor. And then they released his model. They released a teaser model, and that model was in Mark III armor. And I'm like, someone is confused.
But everyone knew that it wasn't Mark VI because it wasn't the helmet. Got it.
But everyone knew it wasn't Mark VI, right? So you couldn't kit bash the guy. It was definitely a thing. So I'm glad we're going to see more plastic line. We're going to see some more coming out. Another cool thing I'm excited about is the list building opportunities. I finally sat down and read the GW releases on like list building and all that, and I was like, all right, cool, let's get ahead of this and like try to learn it. Guys, I found a way to put 200 bodies on a table.
Yeah. I'm not a fan of that idea.
I love that idea.
No.
I
don't, because I don't want it to be good and I don't want to paint 200 models.
I don't even worry about. See, that's the funny thing. Gabe already has painted 200 models. So, but I don't care how fucking good it is. I don't care how whatever. Every time I see someone with over 100+ models, just infantry or whatever, the game state in rounds never goes that far because they have they're like thinking 30 minutes like, hey, how do I move this thing? And then when they do move it, they have to move all their models. And you know, did this 100 shoot? Did that 100 shoot? That would be a pain in the ass. I don't think we'll ever. I trust Gabe to run it smooth, the right way. But that's something where you need a couple of reps, a lot of reps to get that refined, to get it within, you know, a decent 2-hour 4-round game. So
let me tell you about my.
Oh, go ahead.
Let me tell you a story about my boy Eric. So Eric cracks me up. These days, I only get to see him when I go to Adepticon because he moved to the north. He would come over to my house when we still lived in West Texas, out in Midland. Shout out oilfield hood rat shit. He would come over, and with custodians, he would bring an entire army of sword and shields. And it was still like 40 models. And I was like, how'd you get that many bananas on the field? I don't get it. The same guy, go back to Warhammer 7th edition. We were playing in an escalation league. We started at 750 points, and we would increase to 1,000, and then to 1,250, and then to 1,700, and then to 2,000. Eric brought an all infantry Imperial Guard list. Not a single tank, not a single walker, just
not
infantry.
A single fuck. Goddamn.
And I remember when we were playing, he got to like the third week where we were at like 1,500 points. He's like, all right, man, here we go. And he was having to bring this shit on kitchen trays because there were just so many models, man. I think in total, I think it came out at the 2,000 mark. I think it was somewhere around 520 models.
That is so dumb.
No, the dumb part is he did them all in Catachan, so that's like skin everywhere. And so when I think of people building these massive armies and having to paint all these models, I've seen what a masochist does. Like that, I would never want to paint or assemble that list. Like when people are like, "Oh yeah, Gabe, you ever thought about playing Solar Rocks?" I thought about playing tanks. I'll paint tanks, you know, but I'm not going to paint a bunch of like little generic like Bill number 3s that died. Like, dude, they don't get armor saves against flamers. Are you serious? I would paint 200 guys. Just have to pick them up with a shovel. But there is something pretty cool about bringing that many bodies. I'm not going to lie. I kind of want to do it.
I mean, I haven't really deep dived into the rules, but a bunch of fucking Iron Warriors, pinning people. That sounds fun too.
So,
God, can you
what's
imagine the perils explosions?
Just
Fucking
running people into
200 fucking thousand suns.
you
just
get a
yelling.
headache, and you get a headache, and you get a headache.
Oh,
I
you get
need
a
your
special
entire
headache. Blow
I
up.
need your entire army to take a morale test. Why? Because you just watched half of your enemy explode.
Like I lined up to play Warhammer, and instead, I got a flashback of watching what the hell is the name of that the Kingsman, when they detonate
Oh,
everybody's head.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
No, but there's, looking at the list composition rules, if I'm reading them correctly, which I think I am, there aren't actually any list composition rules. I haven't seen a restriction on the number of detachments you can take, only what you can take in each detachment. But you don't have to fill out a minimum or maximum quantity of a detachment before you can start another detachment. So you can take a Crusade detachment, put one unit out of that Crusade detachment, and then take another detachment. And then another one. And then another one.
I think the only requirement is that you just have to take that first little
Crusade detachment.
Yeah, I'm not gonna speak on it because I don't actually know.
So I read it and I read it, and the wording is like, yeah, you have the detachment, you have all these slots. You can choose to use all of them or none of them. And I'm like, well, that second part was really important. I can choose to use none of them. That's a concern.
Can you just imagine someone coming to a tournament and just be like, I have this attachment, this attachment, this attachment, this attachment, and out of 5 of the attachments they named, they really only use one.
I know a guy with
Why'd you
two
throw?
thumbs. I know a guy with 2 thumbs and 300 Marines that might do it.
Why'd you take that heavy detachment, a Lord of War detachment, just to fuck with you? It's actually still just 200 Marines.
Because I wanted to find a way to bring a fell blade with my 100 scouts. Yeah, so the list composition's kind of strange. Like, I'm still 100% reading through it to make sure I have it down pat, but from what it looks like, you don't actually have to bring anything. You just have to fill out detachments. And you can't take more of anything that isn't in a detachment. That's the restriction. But since you aren't limited to a certain number of them, from what I can see, you just keep taking stuff. Yeah.
Now, do they all have to be regular attack Marines, or can it be 200 fucking assault Marines?
Sure. So the way that everything's looking, from what I've seen, however you build your list and whatever models you include in your list gives separate bonuses, right? So like Primarchs, for instance. One of the Primarchs who's going to be really, really solid is Dorn. Because Dorn's benefit is he's like, hey, if you take 4 squads of either breachers or warders, they become a prime slot. Prime slots are how you get your equivalent of, for lack of a better comparison, like upgrades for those squads that are outside of war gear. So if you take a primary Crusade detachment and you have an HQ in there, that HQ is a prime slot, so he gets an upgrade. The first troop choice you take gets an upgrade. Then you bring another 4 with Dorn, those other 4 also get that prime slot upgrade.
Okay, so it's like you build your army, you could take whatever detachment you want, like you've been saying, but if you actually follow the way GW wants you to build your army, you get the prime slots, which basically gives you like special war gear or special abilities because you actually followed the rules.
Kinda. What makes it weird is every army has their own like special detachment.
Yeah.
And so, like with the Blood Angels, their special detachment says, like, hey, the only thing that can be taken in these additional slots are Dawnbreakers. And I know that when I read that out loud, I heard John from 400 miles away cheering with party poppers. So I know that there are benefits to each one, and there's benefits for taking certain things, but I broke it down and I was like, if I do it correctly, I can bring G-Man, 140 Marines, and 7 of them are prime slots. Like, it's not difficult, it's just a lot of information.
Yeah, with 50 new battle rolls, that's it's gonna be a lot. It's gonna be a good thing that we're gonna dive into when we do.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, it does feel like there's a little bit of rules bloat. Just a little bit. But it it feels like that initial stuff. Like, it's when you start a new job. The first 2 months always suck. Because you're having to learn everything and everyone and all the different stuff for your job and all the different things. So it sucks a little bit. By month 4, all of that stuff's out of the way, and now you're just focusing on the job.
Yeah, people tend to forget how many rules we know in Warhammer in general, just Warhammer tabletop games, that we all pass to the side because we all know them. Like, there are so many steps, but we condense them down. So actually reading the rules seems like a lot, but it's not. Like, because if you go through that rule book, it breaks it down from rolling to your person does this, he does this, then it goes back to your opponent, this, that, and the other, just all these different things. We do about 25, 15 different phases, and when we're playing the game, we just roll through them so fast because we know them, you know? Like, if we actually had to break down every sequence, it's listed like a lot, but it's something we do in the matter of like a minute.
Yeah, well, that's part of it. Another thing that's going to be a big part of 3.0 when it drops, and like you said, like I'm looking forward to going through and breaking all this down. But the bones aren't the same anymore. So those of you out there that like to read the first half of a sentence and not finish it, please finish the sentences. There's a lot now that's different. I think one of my like favorite differences is the terrain. That's going to be awesome. But a lot of the rules that we're having to learn are upfront rules. Once the upfront rules are done, like you're going to learn how to build an army the one time, and then from there you're good forever. You are going to have to learn list compositions, and then once you've learned them, it's there forever. You'll learn your legion benefits or your detachment benefits, and then once you learn that, like that's locked in. Now you just have to remember the actual game rules. What does rending do? What does breaching do? What is suppression? What are critical hits? These are the rules bloat that you're going to have to actually learn and keep track of, and that's going to vary from unit to unit or squad to squad. But the initial burst of it, we're all going to be equally stupid from the beginning. Like that's just what it's going to be. We're all going to be on an even tier of I don't know how to play this game. So I'm looking forward to breaking it all down and actually explaining all of the changes. I'm super looking forward to that. But we'll see. What I know for sure is going to be pretty awesome. Now that we have plastic Mark IIIs that are up to date, we have plastic Mark VI that are going to be up to date. They're releasing Mark II Marines with the starter box, then Mark II Assault Marines. You will be able to pretty much kit bash any Legion or any war hero that you want to out of those boxes to a degree. Like certain special weapons, you're probably going to have to order a couple weapon upgrade sprues or some things like that. But for the most part, you're going to have the bodies now to kit bash pretty much whatever you want and actually make a really, really good looking army that is thematic and has tons of options. And you're not isolated to just buying Mark III or Mark VI anymore. Because there are technically Mark IV boxes out there, but and I'm going to do my absolute best to stay off my soapbox for this stupid ass argument, but they're not true scale, so they're not acknowledged.
The fuck do you mean they're not true scale?
I don't want to get into it, dog.
Here we go.
I don't want to get into it, dog. You don't want me to get into it. I swear to Christ, I will blow a fucking gasket with this argument.
But see, that's the oh my! I almost feel like never mind.
Fuck it, let's get into it. So, okay, here's what it is, Kyle.
I don't know what the phrase true scale means.
Oh, let me take a hit of bourbon. There we go. Let me learn you up, son. So, Warhammer 40K and Warhammer the Horus Heresy are played on a 28mm scale, 28mm in comparison to true scale. What caused this whole problem was they produced Marines. And then later they produced Imperial Guard and people. Some asshole. The same people that will ask, how did, they're the same people who ask why General Grievous has one of the lightsabers from one of the Jedi that survives.
Okay.
Right? The same people that have an argument will measure a Space Marine and say, well, if it's a 28mm scale, the Imperial Guardsman comes up to a point where he would actually be around 6 foot 9 feet tall, and the Space Marine would only be 7.5 feet tall, so they're not true scale. If you think I'm kidding, go find a Reddit argument about it.
I don't doubt that, but why
does it matter?
Feel this way?
I feel this way because I feel that the true scale argument is so dumb to me because at the end of the day, you're painting little people.
Okay, so you don't buy into it.
No, not at all.
Okay.
I'll tell you what, it's in the same avenue of insanity to me as the argument that came out like 10 years ago. There were a couple guys online that started this massive controversy about dice and how every event should issue casino dice because they're the only ones that truly roll random.
Yeah, no, thank you.
They're like, and a very good friend of mine, my buddy Cole, that I love Cole. I love him to death. He's one of my favorite people. But for about a year, he bought into this lunacy. And so he would roll these casino dice that were the size of craps table casino dice. Dude, they're like 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches like dice. I could kill a man with a flail made of these fucking dice.
Yeah, and they're sharp edge too.
And they're sharp edge, right? And y'all seen me, dude. That is my only tism is I fuck with my dice when I play.
That reminds me of Lake Camera 4, I think. Fucking he was rolling those dice below the terrain table on the floor for some reason. I thought he was playing craps with Grant or something. They just looked like two hoodlums rolling up against, and I was like, what the fuck are y'all doing? They were literally on all floors just looking at the ground, not even looking at the game. It's like 7, let's go.
So it's because
imagine they're fucking shoeless, just like Grant would be an actual fucking Honduras, playing craps on a tobacco leaf.
See, the funniest thing is you have to know Grant. God, if we had a picture of him just to put up, that would be so fucking hilarious.
So the argument with that was that they roll truly random. And it was when 40K was making that pivot into hard competitive mode. And so there were a lot of people who were going to these, these GTs, and they were like, yeah, man, like casino dice are the way to go. And I'm like, nope, I'd have bloody palms after the second turn. I fiddle with my dice, dude. That's what keeps me calm. Like the more, and I'll tell you this, for anybody who listens to this, who plays with me at an event, the more I fiddle with my dice, the more nervous I am about how the game is going. I'll admit it. When I start dropping dice, it's because I'm off my game. That's when I have to stop and rethink. And then once I do that, it's a completely different game. Like I reassess and I regroup, but I fiddle with my dice. I can't do that with casino dice. Cole even gifted me like a set of like 200 of them. And I'm like, what am I supposed to fucking carry these in? A damn briefcase? Dude, these are not made for wargaming. These are made for like Los Angeles blunderbuss ammunition or something. Dude, they're the sharpest edge dice in the world. They hurt your hands. And then when you roll them, they seem to tumble forever. I hated it. The same argument for dice is the same argument for true scale. I dislike the fact that we're willing to dedicate so much time and energy into my imaginary people are a millimeter shorter than they're supposed to be.
Not only that, it just takes out of the hobby aspect, I think, of it, because most of the people, and I'm willing to say most of the people, when we play, their dice match almost their army or has some aesthetic to do with their army, which they like. So
Bro,
if you just have some random red, white casino
the amount
dice.
of superstition that goes into dice is
Oh, for sure.
insane. I've got a homeboy named TJ. True fact, true statement. I always say your dice have to match your army. If you want your army to perform well, it's a triumvirate. Your army must be painted. Your dice have to match your army. And you should have a dedicated transport case to carry them so that they feel like battle princesses and they perform well. That's my triumvirate of hobby superstition that I buy into. TJ, hard limit, has been rolling the same. Like last I checked, they were like yellow and red and green bullshit dice. And his point of view on it is, if you change your dice, you reset your statistics.
The fuck? You reset your tism. That's what you do, not your statistics.
Yeah,
Goddamn.
he said when you roll dice, you're rolling at a certain average, and when you change out the dice, you reset your statistics. And I was like, what? He's like, yeah, your averages go away, and you have to reset your averages. So now you have to roll those dice for a certain amount of time to get back to your average. And I'm like, dude, you roll like shit either way. What's the average?
No, I'm the kind of D&D player that when I put my dice out on the table, I make sure all the biggest numbers are up so they get comfortable in that position, and that's how they want to roll.
Bro, dice superstition is such a big thing. That was like the first time I ever went to Adepticon. One of the rules there, the way that they combat potentially loaded dice, is that at any point I have to make my dice available to my opponent, and my opponent has to make his dice available to me.
Did you hear about the scandal at the 40K tournament in Alabama?
I did, where
Oh,
they
yeah.
DQ'd like a bunch of people for loaded dice. Yeah.
At least one guy. He didn't have loaded dice. He had dice that didn't have any ones on them. They had sixes where the ones were supposed to be.
Either way,
And it's because they dropped a tray of dice, and when they were picking them up, someone noticed it and handed it to the judge, and the judge found more of those dice on his tray. And they're like, "Are these your dice?" And he was like, "No." And they're like, "Wow, it sure does match the dice on your tray." And he goes, "Okay, fine." And he starts packing his shit and walks out.
that's
I didn't
crazy.
watch the
But
full video about it, but I was like, "Holy crap!"
the
I don't
way that
understand that, man. That kind of ticks me off. Like it's the same way that like when me and Grant are playing some games, you roll your dice. If you want to cheat to win, whatever, that's on you. I would never do that. The people I play with, the community that I play with, we would never do that because you want to test your army and you want to test what your fucking things do. But just going to an event that a lot of people don't fucking have the time or the money to go, and they probably is like their one. Some people, that's probably their one event they get to go to all year, and you're willing to take out the joy by just fucking like cheating. It's just fucking stupid, dude. Like that really ticks me the fuck off.
see,
I agree.
I think what it really comes down to, like, is, for me at least, is when I look at how what dice are, the superstition. Like going back to my original point with the Adepticon thing, I feel about my dice the same way I feel about my models. Keep your grubby dick beaters off my dice. I like, if you want to check my dice, I have no problem with that. If you want to be like, Judge, game state, I don't care. You can check them, you can weigh them, you can roll them. Like, the judge can do whatever he wants. Just tell me before you touch them, because I feel a certain way about it. Right? If you are so worried, shut the fuck up, Christian.
Gabe looking like Denzel Washington. Get your fucking hands off me.
Get your fucking hands up. Yeah. So if you are so worried about winning the game that you have to manipulate your dice, or you are willing to go that far to win a game, There are two things that you should know. The first thing you should know is it'll be the last time you play in that community.
Mm-hmm.
That dude who got caught cheating, that dude will probably never play a game of 40K again with anyone that matters.
Oh no, yeah, he's actually I think banned from all GW sanctioned events.
Yeah, he's relegated to beer hammer in a garage somewhere. He will never be allowed in a mainline circuit ever again. The second thing, I don't know how to break this to y'all, but the heresy community is okay with fighting. Like, I remember one time I got mouthy with an opponent in Dallas, and I was like, yeah, whatever. But whenever he said something, I was like, well, fuck, man, I feel that strong about it. I mean, there's a parking lot outside. He goes, cool, let's do it. And I was like, damn, I'm about to fight over dice rolls, dude. This is bullshit. So, and then I realized, like, oh yeah, the heresy community is a little bit more like about that life. And so that's what I mean by the community polices itself. It does it both in the sense of like the narrative trends and whatever else, but then also like wargaming as a whole. Like if you're that guy who has to win so bad you're willing to cheat, they'll make sure that you don't get to cheat anymore by not letting you participate.
And just for better content, sound like Gabe was playing in with some hood rat shit. Not everyone's like that. People don't think that you're gonna go somewhere and get your ass beat. No, usually when 100%. When stuff gets intense, there's three ways to go about this. In all honesty, if you want to call someone out on their dice, or if someone calls you out on your dice, just say fuck it. If you think I'm rolling hot, how about whatever I roll for hits and wounds, you could just pick up my dice because that's the many saves you have, and you could roll that shit. You could roll my dice too. Fuck it. Sometimes you just have to do that. People get mad when they're losing. Horse heresy is sometimes you just get your teeth kicked in. It doesn't feel good. We get that. It's
different with people I know though. Like, so when we're playing at War Games Con, Lance was rolling my dice constantly because when I open up with a salvo of Volkite, that's the fastest option you've got.
Oh, I thought it was because he forgot his dice again.
No, dick move. But so when I was shooting at Lance in one of the games, like, all right, Lance, that's 38 wounds. And he's like, do you mind if I just roll your dice? I'm like, go for it, buddy. Because, dude, nobody wants to sit there and count 38 dice out when there's 38 dice laying in the tray. So that's one of those times where like I'll normally concede that, whatever else. And you're absolutely right. Like it's so rare that a game gets that heated where people go to that degree.
But it can.
Rarely. Rarely. Like I think I've only ever seen it like 3 times. But then again, like I had one of my friends call me one time. He's like, yeah, I was playing my first ever game, down here in this town. I'm not going to name the town or the store. He goes, and 2 guys just started fist fighting in the parking lot over a table because there's only one left. I was like, Jesus. They didn't even get to the game before they started throwing hands. So it's all like, and most of the time, like the biggest arguments that you'll have are with your friends in this game. I have never had an issue with a complete stranger. I have issues with my friends.
True. But in that note, another way that I said, hey, it might cost you a little bit of money. But after a game, man, after a hard loss or whatever, your opponent, even if you win, invite them to have a drink. That always helps calm down the things because tensions are always high when playing a game. Everybody wants to win. Everyone wants a good showing. After your round is over, if you have time, good common courtesy sometimes be like, hey, do you want to join me at the bar? And if you don't drink, hey, you want to go get a water or something? Or talk about the game.
It goes further than that for me. Like when I go to some of the bigger events, I think this year I'll end up at 5 total events that I'll end up with this year. But when I go to the events like War Games Con or Alamo GT or Adepticon or anything like that, there's 2 100% truths. The first, I will spend the least amount of time at those events sober. We're gonna go have some beers. We're gonna have a good time. We're gonna get to know each other, whether you want to or not. The second thing is like, there are guys I met at some of these games that I went and had dinner with afterwards to just get to know some of the dudes I'm playing with, because that's how you build a network of people that you want to play with, right? So like right now, if I travel down to Houston, I know I can line up a game with Seth. I can line up a game with Lance. I can line up a game with Michael. I can line up a game with with Ivan. I can line up a game with Ian. There are people that I've met in that town. If I shoot up to Dallas, I can give Lucas a shout. Hey, man, do you want to kick my teeth in with some Night Lords? Lucas will holler at me. Hey, Justin, you want to roll into a game? I've got friends in those places. Christian, you want to meet me halfway between Dallas and San Antonio? And where would we meet up? Do we meet up in Killeen? Yeah, you want to meet up in Killeen, roll some dice? Cool. I can do that. I will not do that with a stranger. Right? I've got to get to know you. And most of the time it's easier with a bourbon in my hand and a burger on a plate. So
you gotta fine and dine Gabe first before you get a game with him,
Right.
Yeah, I like to be wined and dined before I get fucked.
He's
so
a high class whore.
let me tell you what, I'm a bottom bitch. So that's the best way to smooth out any conversation ever. The first time I ever met Calvin was one of the more unfortunate games I've ever played. I didn't like it. He didn't like it. We had a beer about it. It's fine. Now Calvin might be one of the favorite people from Houston that I get to roll dice with, because I know no matter what, when I play him, it will be a good game, a fun game with a lot of good energy, regardless if I'm winning or losing. And that's the goal, right? Having to play with loaded dice or breaking rules or manipulating a rule to get to that point, no one's going to want to play with you.
I forgot we started this conversation about loaded dice. I told you we could ramble.
hey, dog. Like I said, here in a minute, we're going to catch a train. So
loaded dice to Gabe being a whore. Got it.
I didn't say whore. I said bottom bitch. There's a difference, sir. Know it. Read your pimp manuals. You'll do better. So you're not going to meet people or play people. And I don't care what anybody says. It doesn't matter how hyper competitive you are. It doesn't matter how much you love to just roll over people. You don't want to do it alone. Like right now, I'm trying to wrangle a group of guys to get ready for Adepticon. I don't want to drive to Adepticon alone. I don't want to go alone. I have a lot of friends I'm going to meet there either way. But I also like having people who go with me up so we can stop and make a memory at a diner, some random place. I remember, Lord help him, when me, Joel, and Zach went up the very first time, I found out that, some people have snoring problems when they travel. And that was a lesson for me. That's also a very good memory for me. Like, I remember that. When I went up with, with Mike, when we went up, we stopped at a place and we had, some really good bourbon at a steakhouse. We had some really good food, and, we made the rest of the way up. Last year I stopped in Chicago to meet up with Eric. We had lunch. It was me, him, John, and Justin. We all had lunch, and we rolled the rest of the way up to Adepticon. That's where you meet people for real. That's where you find out the guys that you're going to look for the next time you play, the things that you do. And you're never going to win games and have a good time with those people if winning was the only objective. So, and I will say that I haven't ever heard of someone in the heresy community playing with like fake dice, loaded dice, or any kind of thing. I know some of us have made mistakes about like profiles and things like that, which is a completely different ballgame, but no one's out there maliciously being like, I have to bend this rule to win. And if they are, they're not around for long.
Let's be real. The most common cheater is going to be the dice fudger. Roll the dice, pick it up before you can see what the result was. Oh, that was a hit.
The most
I've never seen that.
The most common cheating that I've seen is not malicious. It's not, and this is coming from 2.0. And we say this at least fucking 4 or 5 times every podcast. At least I do. This is why we made the podcast. It was honestly just them, no one knowing the rules for a lot of armies. The heresy community, yes, if you say a rule is a rule, 9 times out of 10, they're going to believe you. We just want to roll dice. We want to have a fun game. Hey, my guys actually hit on 2s, blah, 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 because your guy's like infantry, something. Made up rule.
That's actually one of my
one
of my favorite things to do. And I know that it makes Seth just fucking itchy every time I do it. We'll be hanging out and playing the game, and I'll be like, yeah, I'm gonna do this and this and this. And he's like, okay, what do those guys hit on? I'm like, oh, they hit on 2s. He's like, what? And I'm like, yeah, they hit on 2s. He's like, really? I'm like, no, I'm just kidding. Like, I'll roll a dice. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna roll the wound. I was like, what's the toughness on him? He's like, they're toughness 4. I'm like, all right, strength 9. He's like, from what? And I'm like, just kidding, they're strength 5. I'll do that just to play with Seth, but I always immediately correct it. When I play against Eric, I promise Eric wants to beat me with a stick because we'll be playing and he'll be like, all right, what's the toughness on that? And I'm like, go with what you feel.
You're a moron.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. A lot of people, we've never had the community or space where everyone knows everyone's army. We didn't see Thousand Sons a lot. We didn't see certain armies a lot. So when someone said, "Hey, this does this," just to keep the game rolling, we're like, "Yeah, all right, let's go." And then later on down, when we're sitting there, man, that guy had a cool army. He was doing this, doing that. We're talking about it, reading it, and then we're like, "Whoa, no, these guys actually can't do this." And it's like, oh, dude, my bad. I did not know that. Me and my friend played it this way. We've been playing it this way. And it's probably someone we know very well, too. Someone that we know is not doing it's lack of information, lack of reps. I think that's the most common cheating that we see, but it's not like intentional.
I don't call those cheats. I call those just errors, just mistakes. Because again, new edition, a lot of new rules, a little bit of rules bloat. There's going to be a lot of stuff to go over. And there's also a thing called additionitis, where guys remember a rule from a previous edition. It happened in 2.0. It's going to happen anytime you play this game. So one of the coolest parts, at least in my experience, is whenever someone has made a mistake, they've come to me afterwards and been like, hey, man, I'm sorry. I did this wrong. Fantastic. Cool. Doesn't matter to me. That was 3 games ago. Just grab me a beer in the next round. Call it a day. So,
yeah.
And that's always going to be the mentality of some of these bigger events. I really haven't ever had a bad time at a big event. If I would say I had a bad time playing a random at a store where it was like somebody was like, hey, looking for a game. And I'm like, yeah, let's go play a game. That's the only time I've ever had a bad game. And that was more of,
they didn't wine and dine you beforehand. Gotcha.
no, it's more of crossed wires. Like you guys will understand this because you play with me a lot. But when somebody says, yeah, I'm building a list for a tournament, bring a hard hitting list. My interpretation of a hard hitting list apparently is worlds different than what people expect. And so when they're like, yeah, I'm gaming up for this, bring a hard hitter, and I bring that list, and they're like, that game just wasn't any fun. I was like, I mean, you said, so that's kind of been the only games I've ever had like a bad time. There were games that didn't end the way I wanted them. There were some times where I played a list and things lined up so well that player was just like, well, we can't win, so we're going to go and concede. I hate conceding. I hate doing it, and I hate when people do it with me. Because, and you guys have heard me say this before, I roll like 30 attacks, so like, I'm just going to pick up the models. And I'm like, nah, always make them fucking roll it. Always. I don't care if you're doing 30 wounds. I got a 2-up armor save. We're going to roll them. We're going to roll them all.
Yeah,
roll one at a time.
I mean, we could probably get into it in another episode, but like, I think that goes back to how we. Well, I don't want to say this because I don't want tournament organizers, to feel like I'm throwing shade at them, but I feel like you could probably fix that problem a little bit by the way the tournament is held. And I'm not saying anything about anyone else. This is just something I probably later on down want to implement. Talk to you, Gabe, about it, about other stuff. But there could be other incentives to staying in the game. I believe there was another event that was like, if you stay through the game, you could, like, if you don't drop a game or whatever and play out every round, get a raffle prize support. No, I'm not going that far, But I think there's.
I know what the fix. I know what the fix is. Okay. And this is for both the organizers, for the players, for everybody. I can put this whole thing to rest. Are y'all ready for this? Don't be a bitch and enjoy the game. It's that fast and that simple. Because realistically, there have been games where I've just been getting my shit pushed in, dude. And I was still having a beer, having a good time, being like, yeah, fuck it, kill him. I remember one of my favorite memories of all of Warhammer was my buddy Joel went to an event in Abilene, Texas, and our buddy Brian was there. And Brian pulled off this masterful demon trick. And so Joel's just picking shit up. And every time he did it, he would pick up the model and be like, to the death board! And just dump them back in the tray. It was hilarious. You can take an ass whooping and do it with a smile on your face. You can be a gracious winner while you're winning. You just have to put your mindset in the frame of mind that you are playing a game. It's not that serious.
I disagree in a way. But I think there's other ways you could go about it. Now, everyone wants to win first or place high or win something else. Maybe there could be another incentive. Like, hey, as a secondary thing that's for the tournament, the whole tournament, let's tally up some skulls for the skull throne. Everyone that kills tally how many vehicles you kill throughout the whole tournament, and guess what? You win a trophy. Like a fucking like a corn axe or a helmet or something like that. Like something cool. Have another. So for the people that feel like they're not going to win, that they're already like 0-3, that they still have a chance to do something. They still have a goal. I don't know. Work in progress, but I'm thinking there could be something there because it doesn't feel fun, like you said, and I agree with you 100%. Some people are going, and then you just quit out the game. You paid and planned to have like a 5-game weeks. You wanted to play 5 games, and you actually only get to play 2 because either people are dropping or people just don't have the drive after like 4 hours of playing nothing but Warhammer, and they're just getting their shit pushed in that they're just don't want to play anymore. I feel that.
I can see that. Like, and I can understand where you're coming from, but I've never really been to a heresy event. I've been to 40K events that were that way, but I've never been to heresy events where there had to be a motivation to finish the games. I just feel like there are certain situations where like you're in the game and you're like, all right, cool, this is pretty much just an act of defiance at this point. Let's roll it up. I'll still make you roll it. I'll never concede. Like I think I've only ever conceded one game, and it was because I made a mistake, and it was so catastrophically bad. I went to go shoot a plasma weapon on a tank that had 1 wound left. That tank blew up and killed half my army. And I was like, yeah, that's a sign. We're going to go ahead and wrap this one up. I will say at Lakehammer, when the whole conundrum happened with the Titans that kept blowing up.
You didn't concede. You went and
Which
drank
one?
an entire bottle of bourbon.
That one or Zach's?
No, when Zach.
Yeah, that's what I thought. We've had multiple.
Yeah. when Zach was like, oh yeah, we're gonna kill this little Titan, and that Titan blew up the big Titan. The big Titan blew up 5 other Titans. Those Titans blew up tanks. Those tanks blew up another Titan, and you were like, God, this is horrible. Yeah, that kind of a situation is like, yeah, whatever. Just bring me a drink and I'll play it out. It's fine.
Good times.
But yeah, like I don't know, man. I'm excited. I think 3.0 is going to be in a good place. I've read through a lot of the rules and I've read some pictures I found online. I think it's going to be fun. Like I said, everyone needs to kind of calm down and just kind of wait for everything coming out. The PDF document fixed a lot. I'm not saying that GW didn't whip some poor intern to add stuff to that document to appease the masses, but I think we're in a good place. If anything, I'm mostly excited to see what the point values of a lot of my PDF documents are going to be. I want to know if Fulmintaris were still hit with a Nerf bat wielded by Joe Pesci. I want to see what all the rules look like and see how good everything looks to see what I actually want to build. Because like right now, there's a lot of guys who are like, yeah, I built this list for this event coming up, and I'm like, the ink's not even dry on the fucking pages, guys. Like, maybe wait for it all to drop and see what your actual options are.
Yeah, a lot of people got mad trying to build a list when they first saw everything drop, and then like not seeing some models or whatever, and they're like, I just went out and bought 90 fucking blah blah blah. And I was like, no one told you to do that. If you listen to our podcast, we said wait until it comes out and we'll talk about it.
I'm not even mad that people were excited to test out and figure out list building. I'm totally okay with that. But to say like, yeah, I'm going to an event this month in August with 3.0. One, this will be the only thing I say that can be considered like a negative thing. If you're running an event in August and you're using 3.0 rules, you should really look into charging people for that event or not, because that seems a little short-sighted, but I'm neither here nor there. You're building a list with half the information. The PDF documents have a lot of the flavor in them. I'm totally cool with experiment with list building and see what you can fit, what you can't do. I'm totally okay with that. I know there's a lot of people that need to know what they're building so they can strive for that. I know one of our really good friends, Mike, who's active in the Discord. That's his thing, is he's got to have a goal to get to. 100% understand. I get it. I'm the same way. I'm working on this Warzone charity army right now, and it's really kicking my teeth in because I'm like, I need to make this thing 3.0 viable. So I'm having to play with some list options to figure it out. But drawing your conclusions about the game and how the game's going to be before you even have a full picture of information, it's just lunacy to me.
I didn't even fucking think about that. We're raffling off an army, and then they dropped 3.0 on you before we even got done with 2.0, and now we have this Salamander's army. That's funny.
Yeah. So now I'm having to, like, the Salamander's army is still
Good
pretty
shit.
close. Like, I may have accidentally made a good list because one of the tanks I have in there is a Sikaran Venator, and all it has is a Venator cannon and 3 heavy flamers on it. And tanks now can just split fire everything, so this thing can just roll through the hillside, just lighting like 4 different units on fire. Cool.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so I'm retooling this one a little bit to fit into 3.0, and like, I would encourage you guys, even if you're not going to Warzone, to go and look at this raffle army. It's going to a good place. All the funds are going toward, you know, our brothers and sisters in Kerrville, helping with the Kerr County Flood Relief Fund. So definitely check that out over at the Warzone Discord. But I'm gonna have to retool this one for 3.0. So I'm gonna play with it a little bit, but I still don't have points for aberrants. I don't have points for a couple of other units. So I don't really know what direction I'm going to run into. And from what I saw in the document, one of the things that they keep saying over and over again in different armies, and it wasn't in the Salamanders, but it was in, like, say, like the Word Bearers. The Word Bearers list, I remember it says something like procurators with jump packs, and then it says additional Legion army options. I don't know what that means. Iron Warriors said the same thing. You know, I'm guessing that they're giving you your shrapnel bolters back in the PDF document. They're also giving you the Tormentor and the Iron Havocs and the Dominator cohort. All that's coming out in the PDF document. So with the Salamanders list, I don't really know what I'm building until I see that document. I can only speculate on how I'm going to build it, but I'm excited. I think it's going to be a really fun thing. It's looking really good so far. I like where 3.0 is going to be. Just have to kind of play with it and see where it goes.
So anyway, Gabe's got this this army that he's painting for Warzone raffle, and proceeds are going to the Kerr County Flood Commission.
Is that your input? You're just gonna like copy me?
And I think that you guys should check out Warzone, Warzone's website to get that ticket. And if you interact, leave a comment, tell us what kind of information you want to see from us. In 3.0, you can get in a raffle to win a free ticket to Warzone.
Yeah, we are still giving away a free ticket to Warzone until the end of the month.
Don't call me out on that. I had a point.
You did. I'll give you that. For any of those who are interested in the raffle, you don't have to attend Warzone to get the raffle, but I would love to see you at Warzone. The tickets are $5 a piece. Every purchase gets you an entry. So definitely go check that out. I'm posting progress in their Discord as it goes along, and then I'll also be posting some stuff on our Late Night Dice TikTok and some shorts on our YouTube channel. But definitely, it's going to be a pretty fun looking army.
It's $5 a piece or 4 for $20. However, if you want to do it.
Oh, you make my head itch. God damn it!
But there is a special. You unlock 10 tickets if you buy $50 worth.
Don't listen to Kyle. They're $5 a ticket. So,
Isn't that right? 5 times 10 is 50. I know I'm tired, but
yeah, but you're just you're throwing out used car salesman's vibes, and I don't like it.
Coming today,
I
we'll
tell
give
you,
you a wonderful thing. Buy 2, get them for the price of 2.
I got Kyle over here all Sunday.
Don't miss
I
the
don't know
wonderful deals we
why
have out here with our wacky
I
wave
thought
of
of
inflatable
Ralphie
laundry.
May, dude. Get your big foam pope fingers.
Get your big phone. Hell yeah.
Every time you wave it back and forth, the salamander thing is Vulcan lives. Vulcan lives.
Well, I think that's gonna be a good ending spot for tonight, boys. So again, head over to the Warzone Discord. Links will be in the description. Head over to the Late Night Dice Discord. Give us some opinions. We are going to be working on rolling out a lot of the 3.0 content. So please head over to that Discord. Give us some interaction on what you want to see, what you don't want to see. I'm sure that no one's going to have what they don't want to see, but I'm not gonna speak for anybody. I mean, some people are like, I don't like salamanders. I respect your decision, but definitely get over there, show us what you want to see, talk to us a little bit, shoot the breeze. We still are doing hobby hangouts every Tuesday at 7:30 Texas time, specifically Central time. So we'll look forward to seeing you there, guys. You got anything else for the group?
No, I think that wraps it up for me. What about you, Kyle?
Yeah, that's get in for that raffle for a free ticket. The chances are pretty high because there's not a lot of people, so get in there early.
Sunday. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in for another crazy episode of Ramblings from the Warp from Late Night Dice. As always, fuck Erebus, happy dice, happy life. We'll catch you on the next one.